Hello everyone, welcome you all in this lecture of Business Communication of Semester 4. In the previous lecture, we have discussed the meaning of various kinds of reporting like negative reporting, persuasive reporting, special reporting and informal reporting. We have also studied their guidelines and types. Now, in this lecture, we are going to study the meaning and types of proposals. After that, we will study the meaning, types, drafting and preparing a formal reports. Further, we will understand the structure and contents of a report. And last, we will study the meaning, features, objectives, guidelines of project report, and we will also study essential elements of good reports. So let's see the meaning of proposals. Friends, an important exercise in business communication is proposal writing. A proposal is a persuasive offer to complete a task submitted either voluntarily or in response to a request or an advertisement. Basically, it is like a report, and like a report, it may be long, sometimes running into several volumes, or in short, running into just a few pages. It all depends on upon the kind of the proposals and the amount of money likely to be spent. So the proposal means business proposal is a document in writing spent by a supplier to a potential client in hopes of winning a project. At heart, it is a sales document that includes all the standard information found in similar documents in estimates, bids, and quotes. So, a proposal puts the buyer's requirements in a text that favors the seller's product and services and educates the buyer about the capabilities of the seller in satisfying their needs. Now, let's see the types of proposals. Friends, there are three different categories of business proposal. First is formally solicited proposal, second is informally solicited proposal, and third one is unsolicited proposal. So the first is formally solicited proposal. Solicited proposals are written in response to published requirements contained in a request for proposal, request for quotation, invitation for bid, and request for information. So first formally solicited proposal is request for proposal, that is called RFP. So, RFP or request for proposal provide detailed specification of what the customer wants to buy and sometimes include direction for preparing the proposal as well as evaluation criteria the customer will use. They evaluate offers. Customer issues request for proposal when their needs cannot be met with generally available products or services. Second, formally solicited proposal is request for quotation. Friends, customer issues request for quotation when they want to buy large amount of a commodity and price is not the only issue. For example, when availability or delivering or service are consideration. Then third one is invitation for bid. In that, customers issue in invitation for bid when they are buying some service such as construction. The requirements are detailed, but the primary consideration is price. For example, a customer provide architectural blueprints for contractors to bid on. These proposals can be lengthy, but most of the length comes from cost estimating data and detailed schedule. And last is request for information. In that, sometimes before a customer issues and request for proposal or request for quotation or invitation for bid, the customer will issue a request for information. The purpose of the request for information is to gain marketing intelligence about what products, services, and vendors are available. Now, next main type of proposal is informally solicited proposals. It means proposals are typically the results of conversations held between a vendor and prospective customer. The customer is interested enough in a product or service to ask for a proposal. Typically, the customer does not ask for competing proposals from other vendors. This type of proposal is known as sole source proposal. Next is unsolicited proposal. Unsolicited proposals are marketing brochures. They are always generic with no direct connection between customer needs or specified requirements. Vendor use them to introduce a product or service to a prospective customer. They are often used as leave behind at the end of initial meetings with our customers or giveaways at trade shows or other public meetings. They are not designed to close a sale, just introduce the possibility of a sale. Now let's come to the next type of report. It is a main type of report, that is formal report. Let's see the meaning. Friends, a formal business report is an official document that contains data, research, information, and other necessary details to help decision makers form plans and objectives to help the company. Depending on the topic, a formal business report could be a several pages long and include extensive data and information. So here are few of the most common types of formal reports designated by purpose. So the types of formal reports are: first is research report. It means gather and explain data. These reports are informational. Second is proposals. Proposals may be internal to a company in addressing a business situation, or they may come from a solicited or unsolicited sale situation. Formal proposals will include detail of the proposed solutions and cost. Third one is feasibility reports. Feasibility reports are a specific type of analytical report. When an entrepreneur or business manager has a new idea, it is prudent to fully explore the idea before making major investment. Next is business plans. Business plans are typically informational report about what a new or existing company plans to do over the next period of time. A business plan may take on a bit more of an analytical tone rather than a strictly informational tone when it is shared with potential investors. And last is other complex recommendation. Other complex recommendation may also come in the form of a formal report. These recommendations result from a business problem that an individual or team has been asked to solve. Now let's understand the drafting and preparing a formal report. There are some points for drafting and preparing a formal report. First is investigating the sources of information. Friends, investigating the sources of information is a kind of spade work. It is to be done right at the beginning. The extent of investigation will of course depends on the length and importance of the report. Major sources of information are company files, personal observation, interviews, letters, questionnaires, and library research. Second point is taking notes. In the course of investigation, the writer keeps on taking notes of anything that appears to be related to the subject. Then there is no time to analyze these notes and determine how they will be of help in the final report. But as the writer keeps turning them and over in his mind, a kind of pattern start emerging and he begins to be clear about what is relevant and what is not. Next point of drafting and preparing a formal report is analyzing the data and interpretation of data. So after the data is collected, it is classified and the collected data in the light of the pattern that has evolved is analyzed. Then next is organizing the material for the presentation of data. Friends, the material collected should be arranged in a systematic manner. This will help the writer to prepare the report properly. Next is writing the report. Friends, writing and submission of report to the appropriate authority. Writing will need a constant shuttling between the outline and the notes. First, a rough draft of the report is prepared. Then it is revised, pruned and polished. If the writer has some more time at his disposal, he will find it advantageous to come back to his rough draft after, say, a couple of days. This short interval will make his revision work really meaningful. And last is conclusion and recommendation. Once the work plan is ready, necessary data and information are collected, analyzed and interpreted. Conclusions are drawn and recommendations are developed. So the conclusion must fulfill the original statement of purpose. Now let's come to the next point, structure and contents of a report. So the first point in structure is title page. The title page indicates the subject of the report, the name of organization and the name of organization submitting it with the date. If the report is internal, listed on the title page as department names should be report. Second is table of contents. A table of contents in the sequence of topics with page numbers should be given. If the report contains numerous charts, graphs and figures, include a separate list of them immediately following the table of contents. Third point of structure is introduction. This section serves to introduce the research project. It gives the background and the importance of the problems and whether any previous research which is pertinent to the specific project being reported was done. Next is executive overview. This is a summary and important section of the research report. Many executives read only this summary while others use it as an overview and later read the report in more detail. Next content of structure is methodology. The purpose of this section, it is to describe the nature of the research designed, sampling, plan, data source, data collection methods and data analysis procedure. Details must be conveyed to the reader so that he can appreciate the methodology used. Next content of structure is findings. This section makes up the bulk of a report. It is not an assortment of statistical tables and charts in an organized narrative. Summary tables and graphic methods of presentation should be used liberally. Highly detailed tables should be related to the appendix. Next content is limitations. Friends, every research project has weaknesses which should be mentioned in a clear and concise manner. The limitations in a marketing research project generally involves sampling. Then next point is conclusions and recommendation. Conclusions should be with direct reference to the objectives of the study. Readers should be able to read the objectives, turn to the conclusion and find the conclusion to the relative to the objective. While it is necessary to draw conclusion, it is not always advisable to make recommendation. It depends on the reader's preference and the researcher's ability to do so. Next point is appendix. The purpose of appendix is to provide a place for those reports which do not fit in the research because they are either too detailed. Usually an appendix contains data collection forms, details of sampling plans, estimates of statistical errors in interviewer instructions and detailed statistical tables associated with the data analysis process. And last content of structure of report is presentation of data. The research data can be presented in tabular or graphic form. Now, next main point is project report. Now, let's see the meaning of project report. Friends, a project report is a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product or service. Project can take a variety of forms like a wall construction, a shared service project, or other collaborative individuals' efforts. It is a planned undertaking of related activities to reach an objectives that has a beginning and an end. A project is an undertaking by a team of people, community members, government personnel, conversation staff, etc., interested in achieving specific goals and objectives. Project report is a planned and goal-oriented socio-economic development activity requiring financial statement or human participation over a given time. For example, construction of physical infrastructure, the extension of credit and financing, the diffusion of new technology, the conservation or management of natural resources, and human resource development. Now, next point is features of a project. So, the first feature is it has a definite objective. Once the objective is achieved, the project is over. Second feature of project is it works within scheduled time frame. Exceeding the time frame would mean delay in completion of the project. Third feature of project is each project is headed by a project manager who has the authority to direct the personnel to complete the project within the scheduled framework of financial and non-financial resources. Fourth is each project is complex and unique with regard to interdependence of activities. Two projects are different even if their goal is the same. Next feature of project is the project team may consist of people from different functional areas of the organization like production, marketing, human resource, etc. And last feature is every projected is supported by budgets. It is expected to accomplish its objectives within the assigned funds. Now let's see the objectives of writing a project reports. So the first objective of writing a project report is it records the findings and results of the project completed within the given time frame. Second objective is it helps in developing a research model, hypothesis, collecting data, interpreting it and reaching conclusion for improving managerial practices. Third objective is it highlights the impact of managerial actions on functional areas of the organization. Fourth one is it represents a derived output on the subject concerned and enables organizational personnel to investigate into the problem. Fifth comes is It has a significant potential to improve management theory and practices. And last objective of writing a project report is it helps in obtaining financial and non-financial assistance for various institutions. Then next point is guidelines for finalization of report. So the first guideline is general information. Friends, the report should refer to the industry to which it belongs, its history, so that the reader knows about the industry or the enterprise to which the report is related. Second is study of alternatives. Project should take into account various alternative plans regarding outputs to be produced, production capacity available to produce those outputs, locations of the proposed project, requirements of funds in local and foreign currency, etc. Third guideline is project details. Details about the current project must be mentioned related to its technology, process, location, capital requirements, power, fuel, water, transport, managerial efficiency, effect on environment like air, water, land, etc. Fourth guideline for finalization of report is commercial aspects. It should, it means project should contains the details regarding commercial reliability of the project. It includes information related to the demand, market areas to be covered, price elasticity, past trends in sales, etc. Next is financial aspect. Project includes details regarding financial requirements for fixed asset and current asset and means to raise funds. A pro forma balance sheet should also be presented reflecting the projected capital liabilities and assets. And last guideline for finalization of report is impact on foreign trade. Friends, in case the project needs foreign exchange, its impact on foreign trade must also be mentioned. It includes contribution of the project to the foreign exchange reserve of the country and its image in the international market. Now, let's understand the essential elements of good reports. So, the first element is precision. Friends, in a good report, the writer is very clear about the exact purpose of writing. His investigation, analysis, and recommendations are directed by this central purpose. Next element is accurate. Good reports information presented in a report must be factually correct and error free. When writing reports, be sure to double check the facts and references in addition to checking for types. Then third essential element of good report is complete. Report are written to help colleagues or supervisor make a decision, include all the information necessary for readers to understand the situations, problems or proposal, supports all key assertions using illustrations, explanation and facts. Next element of good report is simple and unambiguous language. So, a good report is written in a simple language. It is a kind of scientific document of practical utility. Hence, it should be free from various forms of unambiguous situation. Then next element is clarity. A good report is absolutely clear. Clarity depends on the proper arrangement of facts. The report writer must proceed systematically. He should make his purpose clear, define his sources, state his findings and finally make the necessary recommendation. Then next element of good report is balanced. Present all sides of issue fairly and equitability and include all the essential information. Even though one has to be as brief as possible, the readers need a minimum amount of information before they can grasp the issue being presented. It means in project report present all sides of issue fairly and equitably. Then next essential element of good report is structured clearly and logically. So clear sentence structure and good uh, transitions are essential for writing effective reports. Save the reader's time by making sure that the sentence appear contained well chosen word and proceed logically. Then next is relevance. The facts presented in a report should not only be accurate but also relevant. While it is essential that every fact included in a report has a bearing on its central purpose, it is equally essential to see that nothing relevant has escaped inclusion. Next is reader orientation. Friends, a good report is always reader oriented. While drafting a report, it is necessary to keep in mind the person who is or are going to read it. Next is grammatical accuracy. The grammatical accuracy of language is of fundamental importance. It is one of the basic requisite of a good report as of any other piece of composition. And last is objective of recommendation. Friends, if recommendations are made at the end of a report, they must be impartial and objective. Thank you.